Hi, I'm Katie from Game Fish and Parks Outdoor Campus in Rapid City, and this is
Avon,
my daughter, and today we are coming to you from my house, my backyard, after we've had snow. And so we're gonna show you how to make a Quinzy today because it's important to get outside even when it's cold. All right, so a Quinzy is basically a big snow fort, and so what you need to make your snow fort today, or your Quinzy, are some shovels and some energy. So make sure you ate a good breakfast or lunch before you start digging. This will be pretty great today because you're probably already shoveling. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna pile all of our snow into a big mound, all right? Kind of like this. So our Quinzy, to make a Quinzy that you want to sleep in, it needs to be about 7 to 8 feet high and pretty round, pretty wide. And so you want to keep building it up. That can take a couple hours. We're going to build a mini Quinzy today for sake of time and because we're not going to sleep in it. We're just going to use it for a little shelter today and to play in a little bit. So we're going to keep shoveling just like you guys are doing now. All right, so the next part of our process is making a Quinzy is we're gonna pat our snow down a little bit. Pat it down so it's nice and packed in. All right, we have packed down our sides pretty good. And so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna let our Quinzy or snow fort sit for just a little while. Sometimes they say that it should sit up for up to 90 minutes to kind of let the snow settle in. We're probably gonna leave it for about 30 minutes and then we're gonna come back and we're gonna start digging out. After you have made your mound and it's nice and packed in and you've let it sit for a little bit, the next thing we're gonna do is start to dig it out. But first, we need to find some sticks, which might be a little bit harder if you're in your backyard. If you're in the forest, it's much easier. But as many sticks as you can find, 1 to 2 feet. And what we're going to do with those sticks is we're going to put them inside here to make sure that we don't dig too deep into our Quinzy. Because if our walls are too thin, then they're likely to collapse. So we're going to just stick these around, and you would stick them around everywhere you can. Once you want to, it's best if you can have this absolutely covered with sticks. We don't have a lot of sticks in our backyard today, so we're going to just improvise. And then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to start digging out. So Grayson and Avon are excited to dig out with their hands today. You can also use a small shovel, or sometimes a snowshoe works well for this, or if you have any other like smaller kid shovels, that works sometimes too. So we're gonna start digging out. You pick where you want your door, and Grayson and Avon want it right here. So they're gonna start digging out their hole, and you want to start from the top and go down. So we're gonna have our door right here. And go ahead and start digging. We're going to start digging in, and then we want to make sure that we leave a good foot or two of wall space again. So these guys are going to dig, dig, dig. All right, the great thing about this activity in your backyard is that you can make it as grand or as small as you want to. We've made a Quinzy today that fit my 2 kids to be able to hang out and have some shelter from the cold and be able to enjoy the snow. A couple things to remember though, really important, is when you go outside and it's cold, make sure that you always have covering on your hands and your head and your feet, and make sure that those are all really warm because if those places get cold, then the rest of your body gets cold really fast. It's always easier to stay warm outside than to get cold and try to warm up. So always dress appropriately when you're out in the cold. And the other really important safety thing is when you're building a Quinzhee or any other kind of snow shelter, make sure that you have somebody with you at all times. This isn't an on your own activity because things can happen. So you want to make sure you have a buddy with you, or even better, make sure you have an adult to make sure that everything gets done correctly and that this doesn't cave in. It's my rule generally that these guys have to be out here together playing and not one person can go in this by themselves, because I don't ever want accidents to happen that can turn into tragedy. So be safe, have fun, and stay warm.
Is it time?